This is the audio version of an article I wrote on www.therealdebtguide.com. Enjoy. How to complain about a bank or debt collection agency in the UK. Your complete step-by-step guide. Let's be honest, dealing with banks and debt collectors can be frustrating at the best of times. When service standards slip, you're left feeling powerless and even more stressed about money you're already struggling to manage. Here's what many people don't know. You have more rights than you think, and there's a proper process to resolve issues. Why your complaint matters more than you think. Financial businesses like banks and debt collectors deal with thousands of people who owe them money every year. The truth is that service standards are not always acceptable, and complaints do happen. This might be due to poor communication, how they have treated you, or even over-communication. Perhaps you feel harassed. Here's the thing that gives your complaint real power. Financial businesses, including banks and debt collectors, are allowed 3 complaints to the Financial Ombudsman without any charges. However, once the 4th complaint is made, they are charged £650 for the Ombudsman's involvement, regardless of whether it's justified. It's important to note that, as a consumer, you won't be charged for this service. That's why financial businesses often try to resolve your complaint directly with you before it reaches this stage. The scale of UK financial complaints. The numbers tell the story of just how common these issues are. The Financial Ombudsman Service received 305,726 complaints in 2024/25, the highest level in 6 years. 49% of people behind on payments report feeling harassed by creditor contact frequency. Banking and credit complaints increased by 75% from 62,139 in H2 2023 to 109,155 in H2 2024. Professional representatives now handle 46% of complaints, up from just 22% the previous year. You're definitely not alone in feeling frustrated with how you've been treated. When things go wrong, recognizing poor treatment. No matter what your complaint is, it should be taken seriously. If you remain unhappy with the outcome, you can escalate it to the Financial Ombudsman, an organization set up for this purpose. What counts as unacceptable behavior? Recent research shows that 2.5 million people feel harassed by creditor contact. Signs of poor treatment include excessive contact. 24% of people in arrears are contacted more than 16 times per month by creditors. Inappropriate timing. Early morning, late night, or repeated daily calls. Threatening tone. Communications that feel intimidating rather than supportive. Ignoring your circumstances. Not considering your mental health or vulnerability. Pursuing you on social media, using platforms like Facebook or X.com inappropriately. The tipping point research shows that people receiving more than 5 communications per month are nearly twice as likely to feel harassed. 86% versus 47% for those receiving 4 or fewer. Your step-by-step complaint process. If you're looking to complain about a creditor, debt collector, or other financial business, we have 8 steps to ensure you manage the complaint using the correct procedure. Step 1. Complain to the business. Before you contact the Financial Ombudsman, you will need to send a complaint directly to the business in question, allowing them to resolve your issue. At The Real Debt Guy, we always suggest submitting your complaint in writing to ensure you have a clear record of what has been communicated, but you can also make the complaint over the phone if you'd prefer. Step 2. Business confirms receipt of your complaint. You will receive a response acknowledging your complaint along with an overview of the complaint process. Step 3. Business responds to your complaint. After acknowledging the complaint, the business will generally need to respond within 8 weeks. In this response, they should inform you whether your complaint has been upheld. Alternatively, they may respond by requesting more time. If this occurs, they should explain why and tell you when they will be able to respond. Step 4. Final response letter. If the business finally responds and your complaint is not upheld, you should always request a final response letter. Remember, whether or not you make a request, the business must reply with a final response within 8 weeks of receiving the complaint, unless they have asked for more time to investigate. Taking it further, the Financial Ombudsman Service. Step 5. How do I contact the UK Financial Ombudsman? If you're unhappy with the outcome after going through the creditor's complaint process, you can escalate your complaint to the Financial Ombudsman. You must raise your complaint with the Financial Ombudsman within 6 months of receiving the creditor's final response letter, otherwise you risk missing the chance to do so. When you take your complaint to the Financial Ombudsman, you can do so over the phone or in writing. Once again, we always recommend communicating in writing so you have a record. Key 2024/25 statistics. The Financial Ombudsman upheld 34% of the complaints they resolved. 72% of cases were resolved within 6 months. The service is completely free for consumers. Step 6. The Financial Ombudsman confirms receipt of your complaint. The Financial Ombudsman should contact you within 10 working days of receiving your complaint. They will first check if they can deal with your complaint and verify whether all other requirements concerning your complaint have also been met. Step 7. Financial Ombudsman completes an initial assessment. Next, the Financial Ombudsman will conduct an initial assessment by evaluating the complaint from both your and the business's viewpoints. After this assessment, they will determine whether to rule in your favor or the business's. This process could take up to 90 days, sometimes even longer, so be prepared to wait. Depending on the outcome of the initial assessment, you may be eligible for compensation if the Financial Ombudsman rules in your favor. Step 8. Request a final decision from the Financial Ombudsman. Now, if you or the creditor are unhappy with the outcome, either of you can request a final decision from the Financial Ombudsman. By making this request, the Financial Ombudsman will take a fresh look at the complaint and deliver a final verdict. What if you're still not satisfied? If you're still unhappy with the final outcome, you can take the case to court. At The Real Debt Guy, we never recommend this unless you're absolutely certain you will win and the potential financial gain outweighs the risk. Recent changes and enhanced protections. New Consumer Duty requirements. Since July 2023, the Consumer Duty has enhanced protections for people dealing with debt collectors and banks. This means that firms must test their communications to ensure they're not causing harm. Vulnerable customers must be identified and supported appropriately. There's a focus on good customer outcomes rather than just following processes. Firms face robust enforcement action if they fail to meet these standards. Joint regulator action on debt collection. In March 2024, the FCA joined forces with Ofgem, Ofwet and Ofcom to warn firms about poor debt collection practices. The key message: firms must stop using threatening tones and overwhelming vulnerable borrowers with excessive communications. Special circumstances when you need extra support. Mental health and financial difficulty. If you're struggling with mental health problems, you have additional protections. 50% of people behind on payments have had suicidal thoughts due to cost of living pressures. You may be eligible for a mental health crisis breathing space, up to treatment completion. Creditors must treat you more sensitively and reduce contact frequency. You can request warm handovers to debt advice services, breathing space scheme. Since May 2021, you may be eligible for the following: standard breathing space, 60 days protection from creditor action, mental health crisis breathing space, protection while receiving treatment. During these periods, creditors cannot add interest or charges. The Real Debt Guy's final thoughts. You should not accept poor conduct or service from financial businesses regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. If you feel you are being treated unfairly or your situation has not been managed as you expected, feel confident to take action. Always remember that you are in control. Getting additional support. If you feel like a creditor or debt collector is harassing you, we've got you covered. Our article, What is Harassment by a Debt Collector or Creditor?, explains what signs to look out for and empowers you to handle the situation better. Remember, you're not alone in this. We care about your mental well-being. Key takeaways for UK consumers. You have strong legal rights when dealing with banks and debt collectors. The complaint process is free and can lead to compensation. Recent regulatory changes have strengthened your protection. Document everything in writing for the best chance of success. Time limits matter. You have 6 months after the final response to go to the Ombudsman. Support is available if you're struggling with mental health or feel vulnerable. The bottom line: financial firms know that complaints cost them money and regulatory scrutiny. Use this system. It's designed to protect you, and it works when you follow the proper steps. The Real Debt Guy is a qualified financial advisor and a UK debt expert. The information in this article is considered to be true and correct at the publication date.